She's responding to the cutting of DEI. She's responding to people saying DEI stands for didn't earn it. She's responding to people cutting affirmative action. All of that is race talk and race-based policy. She's critiquing the Republican response to race policy, and they're saying, look, she brought up race. No, she's pointing out the problem with how they're dealing with race.
Okay, let me bring in Sean Spicer, who's been smirking throughout your commentary there. Sean, your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, it's awful rich that Rachel Maddow, who works 1 day a week and makes $25 million.
What? $25 million in a week? Oh my God!
That Joy Reid was just about the single biggest, worst race baiter in the history of American cable news. And it's not even close. Your thoughts?
Totally agree with you, Piers. Joy Reid's job, as a lot of black women on MSNBC or CNN, it's their job to define everything along racial lines and to continue to explain to the American public that if you disagree with the Democratic Party, you're racist. And it doesn't matter what position you take. If you're anti-abortion and pro-life, well, you must be racist because you want to stop Planned Parenthood from killing black babies at an incredible rate. So it was Joy Reid's job to paint everything that Republicans or conservatives or evangelicals do as racist, and people happen to fall for that trap. She's lost some credibility, I think, on the other side of November 5th, and they're going to replace her with people that will do the exact same job, but they'll be less expensive. But yeah, I think Joy Reid is one of the biggest race baiters in the history of American television, but that's really the only skill she had to offer, and so she offered it up.
And what is utterly ironic is that following her departure, her ratings sucked, by the way. They were terrible. Following her departure, Rachel Maddow, the biggest star at MSNBC, then accused her own bosses, NBC, of racism. Let's take a look.
I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And
you know what's crazy? I'm not going to sit here and say Joy Reid is the biggest race baiter on TV because I don't have to use that type of exaggerated language. I don't watch a lot of mainstream news anyways. But I will say this. I've been saying for years at this point that you need to stop trying to trick people. Stop trying to trick people. We all have the internet. We can all look up if you're telling the truth. And when you have someone like Joy Reid, who gets online every day and calls people racist, who calls people bigots, who calls people idiots, who basically laughed at Republicans and conservatives for years, ignored what they were saying, ignored their concerns, people are going to backlash, and that's what's happening. I've been saying this. I'm not saying this to attack her. I have no personal problems against Joy Reid. I'm just saying that this was very predictable. I've been saying this. People have been saying this, and they're tired of you. That's really what it is. I don't even understand it. If you want people to watch your stuff, why are you calling half of America racist? Because she was calling white people just flat out racist. How could they even support what you're saying if all you're doing is making them feel bad for being whiter? I don't know exactly what she was doing. I didn't really watch it too much. I don't watch a lot of news, but what did you expect to happen? Let's be honest here.
Personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that, but that's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad.
So Mark Lamont Hill, what's utterly bizarre about that rant from Rachel Maddow is that Joy Reid is being replaced on her show by not one person of color, but three. 2 African Americans and a Latino. Isn't that a good thing? Isn't it the complete opposite of what she just told her viewers?
In Rachel's monologue, which I'm not sure why you called it a rant, but in her monologue, she said that it was a mistake to lose Joy. And prior to the part that you cut from, She explained Joy's talent. She explained why it was a loss. She never called the network racist. I mean, I understand that that's your interpretation, and
Well,
I do
she
think
did.
it's a
She said
mistake
that
to let
the two
hosts-
people of colour in prime time were going, but she didn't point out that one of them is being replaced by 3 people of colour.
Right.
So the whole statement,
Right.
the whole attack on her network was predicated on an absolute falsehood, which is that somehow they're taking the black people away, and this is awful. It's racist, was the clear insinuation.
Right, and I was trying to make a nuanced point, and if you allow me to
Can everyone
finish
else-
the point
can everyone
uninterrupted
else-
as you allow Jason to, you'll hear it. I promise I won't go on a rant.
Okay.
What I'm saying is you can have a critique of someone making a mistake along the lines of race without them being racist. For example, saying, hey, we need racial representation on the show is to say that, hey, this is a network that has a huge black base, a huge black woman base. Hey, maybe it makes sense to have a popular black woman host stay on the show. That's her argument. There's an argument against it for ratings. I'm not making a case right now one way or the other on that point. My point more precisely is it's not necessarily racist, or you're not necessarily accusing someone of racism to say that they made a mistake along the lines of race. That's all I'm saying. And no, black people are not interchangeable. So even if I were to replace you, Piers, with another British white male host, not everybody has your talent. Not everybody has your knack for deep listening and careful listening. And so I can't say, well, I got rid of Piers, but here's another one. So, and I like the replacements, but I don't think that they're the same. And then finally here, you know, Joy Ann Reid, just to kind of what Jason said, to say she doesn't have any other talent, I think is just untrue. She has the fancy Harvard degree. She's an experienced journalist, and she has deep insights that she offers. Her show isn't about being a race baiter. This is the problem that I see that's the biggest, and that is that when someone responds to a race-based conversation, they become the racist. She's responding to the cutting of DEI. She's responding to people saying DEI stands for didn't earn it. She's responding to people cutting affirmative action. All of that is race talk and race-based policy. She's critiquing the Republican response to race policy, and they're saying, look, she brought up race. No, she's pointing out the problem with how they're dealing with race.
Okay, let me bring in Sean Spicer, who's been smirking throughout your commentary there. Sean, your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, it's awful rich that Rachel Maddow, who works 1 day a week and makes $25 million.
What? 25 million in a week? Oh my God. 25. And here's my problem, guys. Here's my thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no reason to lie to y'all. But some of these people online do have a reason to lie to you. Imagine if someone came to you and said, I'll give you $25 million a week, or I'll give you $25 million a year. All you got to do is spread a little bit of propaganda. Do y'all honestly think they won't do it? And that's what I'm saying. He's acting like Joy Reid is some Black Lives activist and she's been pushing for change in our community. She's getting paid to divide people. And I'm not trying to go against Joy Reid at all. I have nothing against Joy Reid. I don't watch her show. I'm just being honest here. I'm being honest. It don't matter how peaceful the world is. She got paid to divide people. She got paid to push a message. Point blank period. And she got paid millions for it. What are we talking about?
Has some huge concern for Joy Reid. If you care about your friend that much and her well-being, offer one of the 25 million that you're getting to work 1 day a week to her. Second, I mean, with all due respect, if she were that popular, the ratings would reflect it. Her show was not being watched. People were tuning it out, and it was for a reason. They didn't like the topics. They didn't like her, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's a business, and the business is to attract advertisers that make the network money. Clearly, that was not the case. If people really think you're that good at what you do, then they tune in. The audience grows or it stays stagnant. But in her case, it was on a massive decline, and that says that they didn't like her. They didn't like her topics. They didn't like what she was talking about. And it's pretty obvious that there's only so many times you can, play that shtick over and over again without people getting tired of it. I think that the ratings reflected that.
Yeah, I mean, Natalie Winters, there's no doubt. I mean, Fox has been absolutely crushing everyone in cable news now. They average 3 million viewers in prime time in the latest numbers, up 50% from the same month last year. MSNBC averaged 1.1 million, down 16%. CNN 500,000 pretty much, down 3%. And in Joy Reid's case, apparently the ratings on Tuesday without her jumped 16% just by not having her sitting there. Which doesn't entirely surprise me, because whenever I had the misfortune to catch her, she was incredibly incendiary in her race baiting. There was just no other way to describe it. I mean, Mark's being very charitable in trying to defend her only ever responding to what you think were race issues, and therefore if you criticize her, you yourself are being racist. But come on. She looked for every opportunity she could possibly find to accuse everybody who wasn't her skin color of racism.
Piers, can you name one topic that where she invoked race?
And I would just add, even though MSNBC, I think they are overdosing on critical race theory, they find racism in every single corner, in every single story. And frankly, if Joy Reid were white and the tables were flipped and she was saying these things about people of color, I'm sure she would last about all of one show on cable news. But I think, frankly, this discussion, I think it sort of misses the mark. I think the reason why a lot of the MSNBC viewership has been absolutely cratering, in part, people don't buy into the ad hominem attacks, just look at the election results. But this is a network that has lied to their audience day after day, show after show, not only about how President Trump is a threat to democracy, how he's an autocrat and authoritarian, and we're witnessing a takeover, a hostile takeover of this country, but they're sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because in the same breath, right, where they preach the idea of democratically elected representatives and they're the staunch defenders of democracy, they're now actively opposing and try to use sort of outside of the system tactics to oppose and essentially take down a democratically elected president. So their sort of grassroots, really hardcore base viewership, they feel lied to. That's why they're abandoning. And your average American viewer doesn't want to partake in the sort of color revolution tactics and propaganda that they're pushing to smear President Trump with.
Yeah, and also I think, when Mika and Joe went down to see.
And here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I understand having a political perspective. Like, you can be conservative or you can be liberal. But this is something that I really criticize This is something that I really criticized the conservative side with when Biden was in office. This is something I really criticized him with. I said, you at least have to give the president a chance. Don't just push them. Don't just get mad at them because they're on the other side. I don't think that's helping anyone. I said that a lot when it came to Biden, and I said that a lot when it came to Kamala Harris. Because if you're just mad at them just because they're Democrat or liberal, then you're brainwashed. And the same applies to Donald Trump. You don't have to agree with everything Donald Trump does, but at least give him the chance. Let's be honest, he's in the White House. You have to give him a chance. Let's be honest, you have to give him a chance, because he's not going to just leave the White House. But when you just start criticizing every single action he does, not only are you brainwashing yourself, you're going to drive yourself crazy, because he's still going to be in that White House regardless. Look at his actions. And I'm not saying all his actions are good or bad. I'm just saying look at his actions, judge the actions specifically, then make your decision. But I'm going to end that there. Let me know what you guys think of this video. My name is LFR JoJo, and I'll see you later. Peace.